What is going on with you brothers and what I got going on? They won't ever forget about you. It's just because you are just some guy. You is not like other dudes. You is not like other people. You is just into your masculinity. You is into your glow. You is into your frame. It doesn't matter what you look like, what you talk like, what you sound like, or your hair, your beard, or your clothes. It's just because how you carry yourself, just because you are even charming, you are even more a good status quo for others. It's just like a feel good sensation. Just like, oh, who the heck is that? Like, I don't know what is up with that dude. It's just because he is even more magnetic. It's just so much light and purity. It's just like, oh, we gotta get out. We gotta get out because it's just something strong. It's just something strong because your aura is just so magnetic. It's just like all over the place, which means people can feel it. It's just because you make them feel so much type of way when you are around. But they be giving you some good and hilarious stuff. Why they're talking to each other is because they'll give you more downloads on how it can be that to your future when it gets to them. But you got to be very mindful and you got to be cautious on how the way you got to be around with that. But you can control it because your mind and your words. It's just because for those who didn't give you no chance, first chance or a second chance, it's just like going once and going twice, just leave and not even return about a year or two or three or four or 5 to 10 years. It's just because you are going your own way. You are doing your thing. You're just being better. You're just being responsible. You're just keeping yourself to a very good mission. Just because you don't see yourself as the same, like in this world of captivity at the outer world. Because you are living in your outer world the most because it is so different and it makes a lot of sense of what is telling the truth than what you see out here. It is nothing but a lie. It's just because that is not how you see yourself is. That is not how you see yourself going. And that is not how you chose. Because 3%ers are like us. Conscious well-beings of people. And 97% of people are unconscious and uncautious. Not even careful, not even safe. It's just not even being serious. They just say what they say they are, but they just not. But they don't even lie to me, but they are lying to themselves just because they cannot even take you serious just because you are just some dude. Because if you are just some dude, you will always going to be getting a lot of hatred. You will always be getting a lot of hell. And just because you were made for this, you stand for this, you focusing on yourself, and you are focusing on your health, and you are focusing of just healing. Just because it doesn't matter if you be at the mental hospital, they will still going to be flirting at you. It doesn't matter if you be at the coffee shop or at the Barnes & Noble, they will always try to be like, I'm talking about you even more good, even more flirtation because of your sense of humor. But whether they try to be all rude, you are even calm. And I remember this. Trying like to buy me a drink, which means a Monster, then water and one of those energy bars, which means granola bar, kind bar. And then so she was like, that's it. Then I was like, and then so she just like hitting the table, whatever, and I didn't even react or say nothing. I just laughed. So she was like, it was about $7, and I gave her about $7.57, and then so she just like want to snatch it out my hand, and didn't even get mad or react, and tried to give the money to me even more, the rude way. Then so I told her, "You have a beautiful, lovely day," and then I just walked out like nothing didn't happen. Because for a fact is, it was definitely possible how I could just like set it to it. And I'm just seeing some very, very better people that I know back then, but not back in 2020 or 2021 or 2019. I say back in 2017, 2016, and 2014, and how it really changed them a certain way. It's just because of my light and my aura, it just can not hide. It just, you're just so brilliant. You're just very intelligent. Just because that is why they won't ever forget about you. Just because you are just some dude. For those who ain't worried about you, it's the people in the hood, people in the ghettos, people in the projects, or at the parties, or at the bars, or whatever. It's just because whether they be on the phone with your brother or your sister or whoever, it's just because they are thinking about you behind the scenes. They are talking about you all the time, secretly. It's just because you have a good credit. It's just because they don't want to give you no good credit, no good positive feedback, just because you have that on your own. Because you know what is your type. You know what is not your type. You know what is really for you, and you know what is not for you. And you know what really deserves you, and you know what doesn't deserve you. And you know what you can F around, what you cannot F around, of what is really better for you, what's not better for you, or what's perfect for you, and what is not perfect for you, or what is good for you, what is not good for you, and what is here to help you, won't help you, and what is serving you, supporting you, really supporting you. For who you are, that is what really matters. Everything is all spiritual and conscious. It's not all about the physical looks, because that's it. That is why they rather go for the lies more. They cannot handle the truth, because they cannot handle the truth more. They could just love to go through lies, and just because that is their reflection of their insanity, that really gives them more and more demonized, like a man neither or a woman neither, just like crush. I mean, it's like intoxicated mind, if you know what I mean. But those are the ones are not just some dude or not just some girl. But when it gets to you, you are just some dude. It's just because you take things seriously, because that is your masculine. But people don't even know the true knowledge of being a man. Think that being a man is about getting high, getting drunk, or you talk to girls any kind of way when you be on the phone. Y'all just talk about some very, very poverty stuff. But when it gets to me, I don't talk to women how I hear other people talking to women, especially for those live in the hood. How hood man and hood girls, they talk about some very, very dumb stuff. It's just like they like to gossip of everybody else. They like to talk about some very dumb stuff. They be on Facebook, they be on Instagram, they be on TikTok, they be on Snapchat, just because they really don't want to live in the real world, because they rather live in a fake world, which means illusion. But when it gets to you, you is a man, just because that is a true knowledge. Just because you are overchanging. And just because you are repenting spiritually, mentally, emotionally, you are having a awareness. You are having a loud intuition. But that's what being a man is all about, because you see how the world really is. The world is not what you think of what it seems. Because you are beating the game of the real world. Because you are graduating from the real world. You graduate from the real world just because you have always earned the A from the real world. But not just in school, because I know school is not teaching you nothing about your history or your identification or your ideology. But the only thing you can get out of that is just to live in the real world. It's just because you have a lot of knowledge when you live in the real world. You have a lot of discovery when you live in the real world. It's just because you don't be depressed. You don't be stressed. You don't worry about everybody else. Because like for those who really try to make you mad, and for those who really try to pick a fight at you, and for those who really want your attention so much, and for those who try to do all things try to make you angry, it is all a test. It really, really isn't real. Nothing is real. But that is why it's even more real to them. That's because they're always failing a test. But when it gets to you, you always pass the test. It's just because you don't look at things how they're trying to make you mad or whatever it is. Just because they are so thirsty. They are so hungry for your attention. Just because you just give it a little bit of your attention. But guess what? It's all over for them. Because it is too late for them. It's just because you are seeing yourself at the other direction. Because you are breaking the cycle constantly. You are breaking the cycle. Side by side. You don't ever think that the world is passing you by. You don't ever think that life is passing you by. And you don't ever think that the people is passing you by just because you skip through it and then you pass through it. You just really want to provide yourself, just be by yourself. You're just providing yourself just to live in your mind. You just providing yourself just to living better, living happy, and living clean, just because to work out, going for walks, and that's why you don't fuck with nobody. And that is why they try to talk all these negative things about you every day, just because you stay in your zone. And just because they are just mixing with truth, mixed with falsehood. It's just because they cannot take you serious. Because they know you are exist. They know you are good in them. They know you are always special. They know that you are the prize. They know that you are the gift. Anybody can get you. Everybody can open the gift. Everybody can be in your level. It's just because they can't come to you. They can't keep it up with you just because of what it is about you. It's just so much about you. It's just so strong and magnetic. Because they're going to call you, he is super hyper. He is so hyper. And because I was at the hospital today as well, because I really couldn't breathe. But guess what? I am making it alive today. And then so, this person says, I have a high vibration. Or something about me, I just have a high vibration just because I am going through a metamorphosis awakening. I'm going through changes after changes after changes after changing, growing after growing after growing. And that's why I am addicted to that stuff. Metamorphosis awakening. Because when I am awakened once again, there is no going back. There is no looking back, and there is no returning back. Because I am awakened. Just because I see how things are starting to turn out of how God really made this out to be. Because I accept it and I understand, because that is why I really signed for. I don't expect sympathy at the outside world. I expect sympathy from within here, because this is what truths ahead. And at the outside world, it's just a lie. It's just like non-existent. And just because I really don't want to steal nothing how people live their life. Because the reason why I am living my inside world and living in my mind, because I'm speaking in all existence. Because that is how manifested these things into my life for the better, just because I am all about that life. And because I know my stuff, I am about that stuff. I don't ever lie, because I'm just going by how I am speaking it. Because the reason why I am going by and speaking it, just because I am living how am I speaking it. Because that is a fact. Because I have life of miracles and prosperity and wealth within the Most High. Of how He really made us to be fruitful. To stay in that spirit. So I'm flying. I'll see y'all brothers in the view. Take care of yourself and stay healthy. And as always, stay conscious. And I'll see y'all soon. Salute. Damn.